Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar on the subtle art of nurturing customers. I'm Anne from the Zoho Sales IQ team, and today I'll be helping you learn to automate your customer engagement with intelligent triggers for faster growth. First, we're going to talk about the need for customer engagement for a progressing business and how each of these cases that you see can be achieved with intelligent triggers. So how you can auto-qualify your website leads, how you can prioritize your most valuable customers with special discounts, and nudging your CRM potentials to make a purchase, and finally how to proactively support when customers perform an unsatisfactory action. So at the end of today's webinar, you would have learned to set up each of these automations with the help of intelligent triggers in Sales IQ. So that's quite a lot. Let's get started right away. Back then, small-sized brick shops were much easier. You would know the customer who comes onto your store, talk with them, and give a personalized service. But as your business grows, and when bricks turn into online stores, it's quite difficult to even guess who would be on the other end. And so there's a huge call for customer engagement these days. But it's more than just a trendy buzzword. It's the ongoing interaction between the company and the customer as said by CRM experts. Because in the world of recurring revenue, SaaS companies realize they need to engage customers if they are to grow a healthy and a sustainable business. This is where the need to care about customer engagement arises. So when you let customers know of your presence, it makes it easier for them to engage, strengthening their emotional investment in your brand. So as visitors drop by your website, engaging such prospects can turn mere clicks into purchases, thereby making customer engagement the key to happier and more active users of your product or service. But communicating with customers sounds quite simple, but it doesn't come easy for many businesses today because customer communication tends towards extremes. It can be too little, too much, or just too less. Oh wait, can it be just right? So let's dive in and see how communication should be. So being in a fast-paced world, we need everything to be done instantly, right? Let it be from applying to a job or even ordering pizza. Then why must our customers wait for solutions and responses? Or wait, would they even wait? Because gone are those dejected days of customers waiting for a reply or a confirmation. In any other way, you need to reach out to these valuable customers to engage and make the best use of instant connection and contact. So a recent study in Twilio says that around 9 out of 10 consumers say they want to be able to use messaging to talk to the businesses they deal with. Simply put, they want real-time connection. So that's where Sales IQ comes into the picture. For those who don't know about Sales IQ, we are a real-time customer engagement platform to prospect your visitors, engage your customers, and support them for a potential growth. And for those who already have Sales IQ on your website, you're a step ahead and you're benefiting from easily unmasking and conversing with your visitors. So a major question might arise over here, right? Is Sales IQ only for your website? Here's the answer. So Sales IQ can be used for your website as well as for your a web application. Now, if you have a mobile app, no worries, we've got you covered as well. Sales IQ can be added to your mobile application with Mobilism, our native SDK. So if you want to know more about how Sales IQ's mobile SDK can be added for your mobile application, we have a separate webinar for it, and the links of which I'll share at the end of today's webinar. Okay, so you can also see a lot of information. Now, if you have your CRM integrated, you can see that information as well, right, about the leads information and so on. So as you see, all of this information has been provided to you. But it doesn't end with just identifying or tracking the visitor, right? Because the reality of today's business is that we strive to meet customer expectations, but miss out the basic element, that is, customers need to talk or communicate for resolutions. So I'm sure all of you would have interacted with customers, and which may have not been that an easy task. In today's webinar, we're going to focus on these 4 major points and see how you can support and overcome these hurdles with intelligent triggers in Sales IQ. So the first problem: why are you still waiting for customers to start the conversation? No, you can go ahead and start conversing with customers. Now you might think, how confidently am I saying this? How can you reach to a customer who doesn't need any help? It makes sense, right? But here's a stat to help you understand what I'm saying. Around 83% of customers have a positive experience when they're reached proactively. But first, what's a proactive message? It is to send a thoughtful message at the right time to make a customer think, or perfect timing, and they want to follow up. Proactive messaging is required for your business. Here are a few more points why companies need to initiate engagement. So when customers are confused or unsure when they are interacting with your website or product, you can counsel them proactively, help them with their next step. You can also educate customers on new products and services by guiding them towards where they can conduct their research, rather than waiting for the customer to ask, when did you release this new feature, and give us an update about it. Also offer support when customers encounter issues. So rather waiting for customers to point out the issue and come to you, you can reach out and give them a helping hand before they lose interest in your product. So the whole point of proactive messaging is to make the customer feel valued, thereby having more conversations leading to more sales. So let's see how you can make a proactive connection or a proactive message in Sales IQ. So onto the Sales IQ's dashboard. So you see all the visitors here, right? So I'm just going to click on a visitor, and I want to start off with a message. So I can see a lot of information about the visitor, and if I want, I can go ahead and just start a message right over here, right? So I can go ahead and say, hey, need any help? So this is just a very basic proactive message that I have sent, and when I give start chat, let's see on the other hand how it's been shown. As you can see, the message is popped up and says, hey, need any help? So that's how easily you can connect with customers. So if the visitor is responding onto your Sales IQ, you get notified, and you are continuing the conversation. You're just going to continue it in the same way, right? Yes. So that's how seamlessly you can proactively reach customers who need help and start off conversations or build conversations. So now we solved the first problem, right, of waiting to talk to customers. You can be proactive and start reaching out to customers. Because as Stat says, when reached proactively, it also increases the customer's satisfaction levels. So you can reach out to customers, which may benefit your business as well. But manually looking at each of these visitors, footpath, and then reaching out to them with a message might work for a few. But as your business grows, each of these visitors might be a potential, and so therefore there's a need to automate your message, right? So Sales IQ being a customer engagement platform, we focus on engagement automation that is done with intelligence throughout a user's journey. So it's not just about sending a welcome message to everyone, just the same message to everyone, but to do it with intelligence, based with context and with the targeted audience. So this is how a normal customer's journey would be like. They would drop onto your website from their laptops or mobile phones. They would browse through your website, and if they face some hiccup, they might write down or contact us form, or a majority of them would just leave the website. But when they are engaged with the right message and at the right stage, how different will this customer's journey be? So at the first stage, when someone lands on your website, you can welcome them. Then you can engage them to help them take the next course of action. Also influencing them with their purchase decisions, supporting them with proactive supports, and finally retaining them as customers. So let's see what sort of messages can be built to engage customers at each and every stage of the customer's journey. So the first stage is the acquiring stage. With the market growing wider alongside numerous competitors, there's a need to capture visitors at the very first interaction. As mentioned earlier, customers miss out on the human presence in an online business. So make sure your customers know your presence. Now, having a live chat on your website is already doing the job for you, right? Your customers know that, yes, there's someone there who can ask for a query. But if you start off with a pop-up or a greeting, that will encourage visitors to talk. Because it's like an online version of approaching a customer in a physical store and asking if they need any help. So ensure that you start a business with a good greeting. So as soon as all of you had come onto the website, I had given out a greeting, right? So something like this, a welcome message saying, welcome from the country that you're coming from and interested in sales IQ. Now this is a welcome message that I had set so that I can welcome all the attendees of today's webinar. So let me show you how I had configured it. So onto your Sales IQ's dashboard, settings, automation. So anything that you want to automate in Sales IQ about with the engagement and flow, you can come around to settings, automation, and intelligent triggers. In this is the rule that I had set. So I just gave a trigger rule name, which is just for my reference. I chose the website where I want the message to be posted. And I chose a very simple criteria that visitor type is equal to all, because I want to welcome all of you guys. But then when I sent out the message, I could have sent out a very plain message saying, welcome to Zoho Sales IQ, how can I help you? But that would be the same message for every other person. Because these one-size-fits-all messages treat customers as a homogeneous blob and ignores the core of communication, that is personalization. So I'm sure all of you would have known by now that personalization is the key to converse with customers. So I just made a very small change. So since I don't know about your name and email IDs, I just went ahead and said, welcome them based on the country. So there's a small shortcut over here. If you use the percentage symbol, you will get a list of dynamic variables that you can use to personalize your message. So I had gone ahead and said the visitor's country. So based on the country, that's why when you had come onto the website, you would have got welcome India, welcome United States, welcome Singapore, welcome Philippines, and so on. So this sort of creates a good feeling, right? So when you would have seen that, you'd be like, okay, so she knows where I'm coming from. That's the sort of emotional connect that we want to make with our customers. So this was a very simple welcome message or a greeting pop-up that I had done. So this is just another example. So if you have customers coming or signing up to a specific plan, so someone who's signing up to the premium plan, you can send them a welcome message based on that, saying, hey Peter, thanks for signing up to the premium plan. Now you can have unlimited number of downloads. So if someone's signing up to the standard plan, you can say you can have around 500 GB of downloads and so on, right? So that it's not just about welcoming the customer and telling about your presence, but also telling them what they can do with your product. Because that is the first interaction that you are having with them, and make sure, and you want to make it the best one. So have a greeting message to feel your customers welcomed, which will encourage them to start off conversations. Coming on to our next stage in the customer's journey is to engage the customers. Did you know around 75% of customers expect guidance throughout their purchase journey? because you need to interact with visitors at crucial moments in their journey to guide them from visiting to paying customers. But you don't want to keep nagging them with tips and suggestions, so rather choose to talk to a customer who's shown a positive sign, like say the time that they've spent on your website. So engage such sales-ready leads who are on the fence, nudge them with an auto message for a live demo. So let's say you want to reach out to customers who are on your product tour page and who have spent around more than 3 minutes. You want to send out a message and asking if they need any live demo or any help in knowing more about your product, right? So let's see how we can construct this workflow. As the saying, settings, automation, intelligent triggers, and you can add rules. So I'm going to go ahead and say about product tour, because that's the page where I want to provide them support. Now also you can choose the website, so I want it under this website, and my criteria is going to be anybody who lands on my website and their current page title contains product tour. Alright, I'm going to go for an advanced one. So the product, current page title contains product tour, and the time that they have spent is, let's say, more than 3 minutes. Now, since for the case of demo, I'm just going to give 3 seconds, but you can give it based on your business scenario. And I'm going to choose to send them a chat invite from Patricia. So this form is so that your customers know who is actually initiating the chat. You can also have it with your company name as well. So the message I'm going to give is, I'm going to make it personalized by saying smart time. So if you have customers coming from different time zones, you can go ahead and say this. So for one person, it will say good morning, for the other person, good evening. So it sort of, again, personalizes your messages to an extent. I'm also going to introduce myself as the attendee's name. So whoever picks up the chat, their name would come up. After spending, say, 3 seconds on the website. Right, so I have set up a very simple message saying, good morning or good evening, I'm Patricia, product expert. Would you like to have a quick demo? So let's save this rule and see how this rule is being shown on the website. And you see the messages pop up like this, right? So, good morning, I'm Patricia, product expert. Would you like to have a quick demo? So as you see, this is an easy way of reaching out to your customers who have shown an interest in your product, right? Rather than sending the message to everyone, you can reach out to the ones who actually have shown interest on your product. And trust me, when you do all these kind of messages and automations, the responses will be high. No, wait, don't trust me. You can see it for yourself in the metrics that we provide over here. So as you can see all of this data right over here about the trigger, the scene, and the replies, this tells you the performance of your messages or messaging automation. So the trigger will tell you of how many people the message has been matched and it has been triggered to, and then how many people have seen the message, and replies will tell you the percentage of people who have replied to your message or your trigger message. So if the reply rate is going to be less, then you know that something is wrong. Either your targeted group is not right, or the message that you're giving is not that very relevant to the audience. So in that case, you can refine your content and you can refine your rules that you set. You also get to know the data of when it was last triggered. So if it's going to be a very long time, let's say your trigger rule was last triggered in, say, 3 months back, which means that criteria or that set of customers are not coming onto your website now. So it's high time you change the criteria, right? So all of these metrics will help you to get a good idea also leading you to take some mandatory decisions right from here. So going on to the next stage, so this is just the example that I wanted to show. So the next stage is the influence stage. So once you have welcomed the visitor and you have engaged them, the next part is to influence their purchasing decision. But it's not about brainwashing your customers, but engaging wistfully with targeting the right person with the right message. Now, your marketing team would shed money and blood to send out campaigns. But what happens after that? All you know is people who have clicked and opened. But what happens when they land on to the website? So when campaign recipients land on your website, reach them with targeted messages. Let's say you receive a campaign about redeeming a bonus point, and when they land on the website, you get a message asking if you need any help with redeeming the bonus. Thus, this creates a sense of connectivity and consistency. So let's see how that has been done as well. So let's say you've got a mail like this, a promotional mail, and you're seeing that you've received some rewards. So when you click on the link and you're landing onto the page, rather than having to browse through the whole web page to know about the redeeming your offer, you have a message right over here saying that, hey, can I help you redeem your bonus points? So this way, it just makes things easier for the customer. He doesn't have to go through the number of pages and see how to redeem the offer or the reward. But right over here, you are supporting the customer by asking if you can help them redeem it. So let's see how I have set this up. So under automation intelligent triggers, I have set up a rule saying that anybody who lands on my website and comes from the campaign source as bonus points. So you see on the website over here, you can see the source, right, as UTM source is equal to bonus points. So this is the campaign source that I had given for the campaign and also mentioned it over here. So anybody who comes from this campaign source, I want to send them a message saying, hey, can I help you redeem your bonus points after they spend 2 seconds on the website. So you see, that's how simply I had focused on sending out a message to the campaign recipients. Because this helps you from saving the other visitors from bombarding them with unrelated messages. Because it wouldn't be nice to tell everyone that you've got a reward, and when they land on your website and when they ask out to you, you're saying that, no, you are not qualified. So that doesn't create a good customer experience, right? So set out the messages to people or those who are eligible for it or who would want to see that message and not to everyone as a whole. So we saw about how messages can be sent. But it's not only messages, but you can also send out targeted in-app campaigns or custom banners within your website that is not just based on the open and close action, but based on who they are and what they do on your website or on your product. So let's say you have customers landing on to a particular page, say for example Barrington Property, and you want to reach them out with an in-app banner to show them some sort of offer, to trigger them to perform an action, right? Because usually when the CRM date is closing and nearby, people, when giving them offers, they tend to make the purchase more quicker, right? So let's see how this sort of in-app banner can be made with intelligent triggers. So onto your settings, automations and intelligent triggers. I just created one. So name the trigger rule. This is again for your reference. Choose the website where you want the message to be triggered. So and the condition. So the condition I've given is that the current page title contains to be Barrington, then invoke an API. So this is the sample script that is given over here. All you have to do is just take this script and add in your code. So how you want your banner to be, because it can be custom made. You can have it with buttons, you can have it as a long rectangle, however you want it. So just add in that code right over here, and then add it to your script in your web page or your source file. So let me show you how that can be done. Since I have created mine in Zoho Sites, I'll show you how that's done. So into settings, into code snippets, where you have added the Sales IQ code, right? For the live chat where you have added. So this is the Sales IQ's code for the live chat. So now in order to have the custom banner, this is the extra code that I have added, right? This is the framework that was shown right over here, just this part. And then the code for the custom banner. Okay, this is the code for the custom banner, and then just close the script. That's all you will have to do, right? So right where you paste the code for your Sales IQ widget, just under that you can add this as well. So let's see how it's been shown on the website. When someone lands on the Barrington page, you can see the messages pop up like this, right? So you can have this customized however you want. You can have it with buttons to take them to a next page, or you can allow them to continue their transaction right over there and so on. But this is just a very simple rule that we had set. So anybody who comes on to the particular page, and then the pop-up will be done. So you can go ahead and even customize it based on the CRM data as well, right? So even based on the closing date is in the next 7 days, you can go ahead and set rules for that. So in this way, you are nudging your CRM potentials to perform a positive action and to complete a sale. So the next stage in the customer's journey is to support them, because it's not just about completing a sale, but also supporting your customers throughout their journey. Because a bad customer support is like a black hole. It sucks up all the goodness of your product that can ever be found. So save your customers before they fall through the cracks with automated messages. So another example, if someone's performing an action of canceling an order, which is a negative action, which means they would have faced something unpleasant, and that's why they had done that. So rather than just leaving the customer to leave your website or mobile application, you can reach out to them with a proactive message, asking them what went wrong and if you can help them to make the order again. So this can be done even for your mobile application and as well as for your website. So as I said, the intelligent triggers that you set can be also used for the mobile application once you have Mobilism added to your mobile app. So on the website, let me just give you another example. So if someone's performing a negative action of unbookmarking a property, right, then you can send them out a chat invite as well. So this is how you can set up criteria. So make sure you scale your support, being proactive in solving your customer's query before they even reach out to you, leading to an increase in the customer satisfaction level. On to the final stage of engaging customers is that when a deal is closed, it's not that you bid farewell and everything comes to an end, but it's the opening gate to another deal. So remind your customers about you and your brand at appropriate times to stay on top of their mind, which can lead to an upsell or cross-sell and converting your customers into brand advocates. So when a deal is closed, you can just send off a push notification and they would come. So this is in case of a mobile app. But you can also do the same thing for your web application. So when a deal is closed, you can send off a trigger message asking if they want to sign up to your premium plan or start a membership with you, and so on, thereby retaining these valuable customers as brand advocates. So ideally, these are the stages where you can engage your customers with messages. But on the other hand, as an organization, you need to update and record all of these data as well. And that can be tiring, right? Because how many times have we manually made follow-up or updations to a CRM profile? Because when leads come onto your website and perform specific actions or functions in a way that they are progressing, qualify them as a potential and get it updated to your CRM field. So if someone's leaving your website and has performed a positive action of booking a visit, you can update it to your CRM. So let me show you how this rule can also be set up. So add it, give a trigger rule name for it. So something like this. I've just given this for my reference. Choose the website and also the conditions. So if someone's is leaving the website and they perform a custom action of bookmarking a property, then I want to update their lead or so with any of these fields that I have. Even if you have custom fields in CRM, they will also be populated here and you can update it accordingly. So now I'm just going to go ahead and give them or add them a visitor score, right? So this is just an example of how you can auto-update your CRM fields based on the visitor's action on the website. So it will be sent out to your CRM and updated just like this, how I've shown you. So this helps you from saving your agents from keying each and every update for a potential. So let's say like you do the job for you, create a rule once and for all, and you're set. Also, your CRM would be flushed with all of these insights of Sales IQ, allowing you to fire out CRM workflows with such intense data about the lead that is from a Sales IQ. So the next question arises. How do you define your audience for your email campaign? Because that is also some sort of a manual update that always happens, right? So rather than having to blast to thousands of unknown prospects, optimize your campaign with a better mailing list. So create or update your visitors in your campaign list based on the visitor's information and action that they take on your website, giving you more open rates and a better chance of converting. So if someone's going to leave your website but have visited the Barrington page, you can add them to the Barrington mailing list so that when we have any special offers, they will be also added into it. So let me show how that is done as well. I'm just going to give a head as Barrington Manandra. So anybody leaves the website and they have visited Barrington page. So you can add them to a mailing list. So since I've integrated with Zoho campaigns, I will get a list of all the existing lists that I have and I can add it to any one of them. Even if you have MailChimp, you can go ahead and do that as well. So you can add to an existing one or also choose to create a new mailing list. So it's not that you're sending out to people who may or may not like but to those people who have actually come and visited and spent time on your webpage. This will help you to retarget them not based on click or open actions, but based on their website behavior. So we've seen about how different messages can be used to engage customers at each and every stage. So at the acquire stage, you can engage them with welcome messages, and at the engagement stage, you can reach them out based on the time they spent on specific pages, and also influence them with discount banners, support your customers when they perform any negative action, and finally retaining them for an upsell, and also an offline follow-up to keep your CRM profile and your campaign mailing list updated. So you may have like thousands of people visiting your website, right? But not all of them are going to turn out to be customers. Because how many times have you reached to a prospect to hear they're not interested in your product? Quite a lot, right? So prioritize them based on the time they spend, and also even further prioritize for those customers who show interest in your brand by performing some action. So let's see how that can be done. So I'm going to prioritize customers who have performed an action of bookmarking a property. Okay, so I've just mentioned it as this. So if they've performed the custom action of bookmarking a property and their CRM stage is a prospect, then I want to send them a chat invite, saying from Patricia. Let's say after they spend around 10 seconds on the website, right? So this is another proactive message that you can send out to not all of them, but for your prioritized and VIP customers, or those who have a higher probability of converting into customers. So a small tip here is you can reach out to high-value prospects with Clearbit integration. Now, Clearbit is a third-party integration that we have with Sales IQ, which will be able to let you or give you a lot of details about your visitor's company and the place that they work for. So what Clearbit does is based on the domain. Now, for example, if I give in my mail ID saying ann@zohocorp.com, based on the Zoho Corp, it would get in all the information about the visitor. So let me show you that. So as you can see, the information here, this is with Clearbit. So because I've given my mail ID as zohocorp.com, it's given me a lot of information about Zoho Corporation, about the number of employees, the type of industry, the phone numbers, contact number, and so on. So if you it would be really helpful for qualification purposes, and you can use all of these data to even target such visitors. So onto your intelligent triggers, you can add up rules based on your Clearbit integration. So if I have someone coming from the software industry and Clearbit identifies that, I can send off a message saying, this is how Sales IQ can be used for a software industry. But if someone is coming for, say, airlines or travel industry, I can accordingly modify my message and personalize it based on the information that I'm getting from Clearbit. So this does a good deal of personalizing your message and also targeting them to the most valuable customers. So this is just another example. So coming on to our fourth and final point, the problem that you face is that no one is responding to the messages. Because you are reaching out to all contacts in an instant, and it's like sending a forward. If your message isn't sent to the right person, it feels like a spam to whoever gets it. So determine the context of the message to your targeted audience, because there's no point in talking about an advanced feature to someone who's just signed up. So if a visitor just comes onto your website, let him know of your presence. If it's a potential one, nudge him to perform an action. And if he's a customer, convert him into a brand advocate. So these are just few examples of how you can send out a message based on the context of the customer. So here at the visitor, it will help the visitor to know that, okay, there's somebody there, I can reach out for support. And for the lead, you're telling him what his next action, which actually nudges him to perform or do a purchase. And finally, for our customer, which helps them to convert into a brand advocate. So we saw all about how we can solve each of these problems by using intelligent triggers. But now the most important point is we need to understand how to build the trigger messages, because we know the impact. But now we need to know how to frame it so that it reaches in the right way to the customer. So here are a few points that you can keep in mind. So first thing is you have to decide whom do you want to target. Who is your audience? It's all about understanding how your customers behave on your website. Because some might spend a lot of time on your website, whereas the majority of them will just scroll through and leave it. So determine who your audience is, whether a returning visitor or a CRM lead with more than 5 open deals, a potential who has performed a download action, or someone who's currently in the pricing page, that is like a sales-ready lead, and also based on any custom information that you pass through the visitor APIs that we have. So based on all of this information, you can determine who you want to target. So as you see in Sales IQ, I'm talking about this condition over here. Who are you going to target? So you have all of these data that you see over here. You can choose any of these criteria. Also create advanced rules, so mix and match rules, and see who you want to target. Once you decide that, the next important point is to know what you want to convey to the customers. So frame your message to make it relevant to the targeted user. So if it's a new visitor, send them a welcome message. But if it's a customer who has been using your product for a very long time, you can send him an activation message to turn sign-ups into subscriptions. Also, you can update your existing customers with feature updation, and also offer banner for targeted customers, prompting them to perform action. So the content part is very important, and also make sure you personalize it with the percentage symbol. So you have a list of these things that you can use, even based on the company's information that we get from Clearbit. You can make use of this to personalize your messages. So once you have decided who you want to target and what message you want to send, you can't just send the message anytime at any time, right? You have to determine the most important action that a customer takes in your business, because not all actions are of same importance. So you prioritize which is more worthy of supporting with a message. So is it when they land on your website, or is it when they perform a specific action, or when they access any page on your website? So this is this part that I'm talking about. So you have these set of criteria where you can use when you want to trigger the message or when you want the message to be shown to the customer. And finally, the medium. So once you have decided who you want to target, what message you want to send, and when you want to send out the message, the next thing that you have to decide is how you want to send the message. Do you want it to be just as a chat message, or do you want it to be as a banner? So if you want to continue the conversation with the customer, or you want to share some knowledge and solve issues, then you can go ahead and use the chat invite option. But if you want to display promotions and make customers aware of it and want to nudge the customers to do the next action, you can go ahead with the in-app campaigns or the custom banner. So that we have right over here. So you can go ahead and choose this based on how your business scenario is. So yes, in-app campaigns do have a better reach, but as long as you do not interrupt the customer flow. So make sure you write down or a flow of how your customer's journey is there in your product, and then decide at what crucial points do you want to reach out to your customers with engagement messages. So a few examples for you here. So if you want to engage somebody who is sales ready, so first you decide who it is. So somebody who might be downloading a brochure from your page. And what do you want to let them know? You want to help them to learn more about your product, because they can be actually really. And you want to trigger them not after they have left your website, right? It's when they are currently in the resources page. And the best way to do is to have a chat invite, because that will help you to continue the conversation with the customer, see what he's looking for, and accordingly maybe even end up giving a live demo for him. The other example here is for your CRM potential. So you are focusing, or your targeted audience here is CRM potentials with open deals that are more than 3. And you want to nudge this customer to perform an action, right? So here you're sending out a message saying, if you want to make one more purchase, you get around 10% on your cart. When does this happen? When he's adding an item onto his cart. So not when he's browsing around and looking for products, but when he performs a specific action, he's qualified for the 10% offer that you're giving. And the best way, again, here is to go with chat invite, so that if he has any queries, he can reach out to you. And finally, to retarget your campaign recipients, So when someone comes down from the campaign saying Black Friday, you can send them out a custom banner showing a Black Friday sale, which is for 30% for only those people who have come from that particular campaign. And when you can send it, when he just lands on the website, right? So he doesn't have to search for any offer here and there. As soon as he lands on the website, he can see your banner and he can reach out and complete the task. But make sure that you do not bombard your customers with custom banners right up front as soon as they land on the website. Give them some time to settle down on your website, and then you can support them and offer them all of these discounts and promotions. So a few key points to keep in mind. A customer can be triggered with only one message at an instance. So if you are testing about the intelligent triggers and you already have a session, the trigger will not work, right? You will have to go through an incognito window, and then you will have to treat the visitor as a new or a fresh lead, and only then the trigger will happen. So the main idea here is that you can't force customers with the same messages over and over again. It can irritate him really well, right? So therefore, you are just sending out one message to the customer at a time when he is on the website. The second key point to be kept in mind is if a customer matches any of the two rules that you set, the rule on the top will be executed. So what I'm trying to convey here is that this is the list of rules that I've created in Sales IQ, in the triggers. If I have a customer who satisfies or who matches to the rule product tour and the bonus point rule, the product tour page demo will be executed for him and not the bonus point, right? So anything on the top will be given first priority. But if you want to change the order, you can just drag and drop, and you can change the order accordingly. The next point is that your messages that will be sent, that you set, will be triggered only at the availability of your agents. So if the agents are offline, trigger messages will not be sent, because the whole idea is to respond to the customer who replies to those messages. So therefore, you do need your agents to be available when you trigger messages to be sent. Also, intelligent triggers is for, also you can get to know about the metrics that we spoke about, so which will give you a good idea about how your messages are performing, also helping you to take managerial decisions. And finally, intelligent triggers is for the paid plan. You can set up around 3 rules for your basic plan, 10 rules in your professional, and around 25 rules for your enterprise plan. So that's it for today's webinar. Let's have a quick recap. We saw how to increase conversations with proactive triggers, so you don't have to wait for your customers anymore. We also saw how to accelerate your sales by targeting your customers with their CRM data, and how you can improve retention by supporting customers when they perform a negative action, and also before they reach out to us, and saving your team's effort with auto updates to your CRM and adding them to your mailing list through campaigns. So thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. And hoping to see you in our upcoming webinar. Thank you and have a great day.